Rồi, tôi chào cả lớp. Các bạn có micro, mở micro cho tôi biết khi tôi điểm danh. Bạn Nguyễn Huỳnh Anh.
Dạ có.
Đăng Anh.
Dạ có ạ.
Mai Anh. Mai Bình rồi.
Dạ có ạ.
Dương.
Dạ có ạ.
Phương Giang.
Dạ có ạ.
Bạn Hiền Hậu.
Dạ có.
Nhi Hoàng.
Dạ có.
Quỳnh Hương.
Dạ có.
Xuân Kha.
Dạ có.
Minh Khang.
Dạ có.
Hồng Liên.
Dạ có.
Diệu Linh.
Dạ có.
Phương Linh.
Dạ có.
Gia Linh.
Dạ có.
Trúc Mai.
Dạ có.
Xuân Nghi.
Dạ có.
Thảo Nguyên.
Dạ có.
Quỳnh Như.
Dạ có.
Minh Quang.
Dạ có.
Minh Thiện. Quỳnh Trang.
Dạ có.
Yến Trinh.
Dạ có.
Ngọc Trinh.
Dạ có.
Hoàng Thị Quỳnh Trang có không?
Dạ có thầy.
Trần Ngọc Quỳnh Trang.
Dạ có.
Rồi. Tiến Tú.
Dạ có.
Thu Uyên.
Dạ có.
Và Uyên Vi.
Có.
Rồi. Vậy các em có gần như đầy đủ, ngoài trừ duy nhất là bạn Minh Thiện, tôi nghĩ chắc nghỉ luôn. Trên Minh Thiện là gì? Bây giờ anh thấy chưa? Rồi cho bạn. Và cho bạn thì nó ngoài tầm tay của tôi. Rồi các bạn kiểm tra lại xem hôm trước lớp học hết chương 4 chưa? Học qua đến phần học đến phần supply chưa? Rồi, tôi cẩn thận hỏi thêm một sinh viên nữa. Bạn Nguyễn Huỳnh Anh.
Dạ thầy.
Hôm trước học đến đâu rồi?
Dạ hôm trước mình học hết cái phần cầu á thầy. Mình học luôn cái hết cái demand curve rồi mà mình chưa có qua cái supply gì.
Rồi tôi có nói các em đọc trước ở nhà không?
Dạ có.
Rồi em có đọc không?
Dạ có sơ qua.
Sao bạn không đọc kỹ mà bạn đã đọc sơ qua?
Dạ cũng lỗi của con, tại Tết nhớ con hơi bận nhiều thứ.
Không, Tết bạn đúng rồi. Nhưng mà từ thứ hai đến giờ đâu có Tết nữa.
Dạ.
Từ thứ hai đến giờ hết rồi. Tết đến hết chủ nhật vừa rồi. Bắt đầu từ thứ hai. Thay vì những năm trước á, là các em học online, offline chứ đúng không? Nhưng mà bây giờ các em học online. Do đó Nguyễn Huỳnh Anh, tất nhiên bạn không được may mắn. Tôi gọi ngẫu nhiên bạn có điểm trừ. Bạn có điểm trừ đầu năm, bởi vì bạn không đọc bài, đọc bài sơ nha. Đọc bài sơ theo tôi nghĩ là không đọc bài đó. Rất ngẫu nhiên, không được may mắn khi tờ bài trúng bạn.
Dạ.
Turn off the microphone. And another one. Lâm Minh Khang.
Dạ.
Do you review the lesson before joining the class?
A little bit.
A little bit. Thank you. Lâm Minh Khang, the first negative mark. Nhật điểm mà trừ một cách công khai để các bạn xem là có bị nhầm lẫn với bạn khác hay không. Cái giáo viên nói đọc là nên đọc, họ đã đọc thì phải đôi kỹ một chút. Ví dụ em đọc không kỹ, lúc chút nữa tôi sẽ hỏi là thế nào là cái quantity supply. Nếu em nắm được cái quantity demanded, chúng ta sẽ hiểu được quantity supply. Chút nữa tôi hỏi các em là cái law of supply, các em đọc law of supply và tôi hỏi tiếp là thế nào là law of demand. Các em đọc bài trước ở nhà thì rất là dễ, phần ngược lại. Vì phần này là phần giáo viên yêu cầu đọc ở nhà, cho nên về mặt nguyên tắc là tôi chỉ nói lướt qua một số điểm chính thôi. Và những điểm còn lại em hiểu được thì quá tốt, không hiểu được thì ráng chịu. Vì giáo viên nói đọc ở nhà, và bây giờ vào lớp ví dụ đọc một bạn thực sự siêng năng đọc ở nhà, take note the important points, and if you don't understand, right, raise your hand and ask me. I'm ready to reply individually for each student. Bạn không đọc bài trước ở nhà, bạn biết lấy gì đâu đọc, lấy gì đâu hỏi. Và như vậy bạn thắc mắc tất cả thì cũng như không. Giáo viên yêu cầu đọc trước ở nhà, điểm nào cũng thắc mắc, nghĩa là bạn đâu có đọc. Bởi vì nếu một khi các em đọc thì có điểm thắc mắc, có điểm không. I continue. Continue the previous, the last session, the last class, right? Supply. Firstly, please to understand the goal or the objective of sellers is to maximize the total profit. Please wait. I am connecting my tablet so I can write on my laptop. The total profit and profit per unit, they are not the same. Related to profit, you have to keep in your mind that price per unit or price per unit equals the cost of production plus tax or taxes plus profit. Of a cost, profit here is a profit per unit. If I use the letter P for the price per unit, the letter Z for the cost, taxes, and profit, P. Tax or taxes, it depends on the item you buy. You go to the supermarket, you buy a water bottle, and you have to pay the VAT, the value added tax. And if this water bottle is produced abroad and imported to Vietnam, you have to pay the import duty. In this case, VAT, import duty are taxes. Are taxes. If this water bottle is domestically produced, there's no import duty, and you pay only VAT. So I write tax or taxes. It depends on the good you buy. And how many goods, how many items sellers sell in the market? Suppose a Q. Q is the quantity sold. The quantity sold. P times Q, you have TR, total revenue. Z times Q, you have the total cost. TX times Q, you have total taxes. Tax or taxes, right? Times Q, you have total taxes. And P times Q, you have total profit. The profit is here. And the objective, the target of sellers is to maximize the total profit, not to maximize the profit per unit. Never. That's why you try to distinguish profit per unit and the total profit. The total profit is the product of P and Q. And since now, right? And anytime I ask you, tell me about the components of the price. So you reply, sir, the price of an item, the price per unit, the price of an item, the price of a good includes the cost, taxes, and profit. And you should keep in your mind, right, the components of the price from now until the end of the cost. The cost of production includes materials, fuel, electricity, water, etc. Wage or the cost of labor, wage. Interest related to the loan. You borrow money from the bank, for example, right? You borrow money from the bank and you have to return to the bank the principal plus interest. Payment on loans, etc. This is the cost of production. The cost of production, in brief, the cost. Tax or taxes is an amount of money paid to the government. And finally, profit. And again, the profit here in this formula is the profit per unit. And if the price increases, other things unchanged. The price increases, other things unchanged, such as the cost unchanged, taxes unchanged, and the profit per unit increases. Profit per unit increases. This is the motivation. This is the motivation of sellers to sell more and more. And that's why the quantity supply increases too. Remember, right? P times Q, we have the total profit. I repeat, price increases, other things unchanged, cost, taxes unchanged. Then profit per unit increases, and this stimulates sellers to sell more and more to get higher or to get the maximum total profit. That's why the quantity supplied increases. Nhắc lại không thừa rằng các em học với tôi ở trên lớp online hoặc offline, em lắng nghe và ghi chú theo cách hiểu của mình. Giờ bạn học, ôi ghi chỉ cho mình, không thành vấn đề. Không thành vấn đề đối với tôi. Mà khi tôi hỏi lại, bạn nắm bài không được, bạn có điểm trừ. Và tôi cho bạn tối đa 5 điểm trừ. Và nếu điểm trừ vượt quá con số 5 thì sẽ chuyển điểm trừ sang phần online test. Bạn có một số những cái online test ở trên LMS và tôi sẽ chuyển điểm trừ đó sang online test, bởi vì bạn có quá nhiều điểm trừ. Nên là hay nhất lắng nghe và ghi chú tất cả những buổi học online lẫn offline. Đó là ý kiến riêng của tôi, đúng không? Còn bạn có ghi hay không thì đó là chuyện của mỗi bạn. And now we go to the next part, quantity supply. And I need someone to read. Right? I would like to invite Nguyễn Huy Hoàng. Please speak loudly. Right? Speak loudly. Again. To sell at X price. The last time for you, right? You read, but you are lacking of something. You look at the slide on my screen, not only on my outline. Again. And now tell me, right? Without looking the document, right? What is the quantity demanded? Tell me, without looking the document, what is the quantity demanded? You read from your memory from the document. Tell me honestly, frankly, right? Tell me. You read from? And continue to read law of supply. Rises, not rise. Bạn vui lòng siêng năng một chút, chia động từ của thứ ba số ít. Again. Not vice versa. No, not vice versa. Vice versa. And what is the law of demand? Not is. The law of demand states that or says that. Wrong way. The quantity demanded, not the demand. Again, at the beginning. Bạn Huy Hoàng, Nguyễn Huy Hoàng đúng không? Có điểm trừ đầu tiên. Tôi thấy em đọc đúng sau cái điểm trừ. Tôi sẽ nói cho em cái điểm trừ sau khi đi cập nhật điểm. Nguyễn Huy Hoàng, hôm trước có 4 điểm cộng, hôm nay có 1 điểm trừ. Lý do cái điểm trừ là bạn cứ đọc xong, bạn lập tức tắt micro. I'm making a conversation with you. You turn your microphone on and off and on and off immediately. It means that you refuse my conversation. This is the first point. Every time I call you, right, please keep your microphone on until I ask you to turn it off. This is the first point. The second point, Huy Hoàng always lacking of something and got a problem with the verb. When the price of a good rise, and I correct for Huy Hoàng once, right? Rises. The quantity supply of the good rise instead of rises, and vice versa. And I asked him to tell me about the law of demand. He said that when the price of a good rises, of a good rise instead of rises, the quantity of demand instead of the quantity demanded of this good rise instead of rises, and vice versa. And he stopped at here instead of continue to read or to say other things equal. Based on this one, right, you can tell me easily the law of demand if you review the lesson before joining the class. This is the quantity supply, the law of supply. The price increases, the quantity supply increases. Why? 2 minutes ago, I explained to you, price increases, other things unchanged, taxes unchanged, other things and price increases, other things unchanged. It means that the profit per unit increases, then it encourages sellers to sell more and more. That's why the quantity supply increases. You didn't read at home. Lot of people, right? Lot of students in this class didn't review the lesson at home. I'm sure. Right? And the correlation between the price and the quantity supply is expressed in 3 forms: supply schedule, supply curve, and supply equation. And this is the supply schedule. This is the supply curve, supply schedule, supply curve. The supply curve is upward sloping because the correlation or the relationship between the price and the quantity supply is a positive. The relationship is a positive and the curve is a upward sloping. The third form is a supply equation. If the supply curve is a straight line, then you have such equation: QS equals B plus AP, where A is the slope of the supply curve, and of course, A takes positive value, shows the positive relationship between the price and quantity supply. And now, based on the supply schedule, based on the supply schedule, please determine the equation of the supply curve. I repeat, this is an exercise to do right now based on the supply schedule. Please determine the supply equation. I give you 2 minutes to do this, and after 2 minutes, if there is any volunteers, you raise your hand. You open your microphone and tell me. And if the whole class keeps silent, I call you randomly. Now, 2 minutes starts. Time is over. Any volunteer? Thank you. And I check it to make sure this correct or incorrect. I replace the price by 3,000. 3,000 divided by 500 is a 6. 6 minus 1 is a 5. It's correct. So the correct equation is QS equals minus 1 plus 1 over 500p. Bonus mark for you. And market supply versus individual supply. In the previous session, before that, I introduced the market demand versus individual demand. it looks like the same, but not they are not the same because the supply curve is upward sloping, while the demand curve is downward sloping. Market supply has the sum of individual supplies. And the shifts in the supply curve. If I help you, right? I explain in details the difference between the movement along the line and the shift of the line. And I don't want to repeat these explanations. It's up to you. If the price of the good itself, the supply curve shows that the quantity supply depends on many determinants, on many variables, such as the price, the price of the good X. Suppose we are focusing on the good X, depends on the production, the cost of production, right? The cost to produce the good X depends on taxes, depends on number of sellers, etc. There's a lot of variables affecting the QS. That's why all the things equal, if you focus on P, right? The price increases, the quantity supply increases too. Other things equal. The remaining variables are equal. Other things equal. Other things unchanged. In this case, in this condition, if the price increases, the quantity supply increases too, and vice versa. That's why if the price of the good itself changes means or increases or decreases. It represents a movement along the supply curve. I'm sorry. Other things such as input prices. Input prices are cost of production, taxes, technology, expectations, etc. And if these variables change, they will shift the supply curve, or to the left or to the right. And I already help you, right, to understand the difference between supply and quantity supply. Before that, the distinction between demand and quantity demanded. Demand and quantity demanded, they are not the same. Please refer in the last session. Quantity supply and supply curve. You already know, right? Before that, but it is related to the demand, not to the supply as of today. And after examining supply and demand separately, now we combine supply and demand together. Before that, we focus on demand. Today, we focus on supply. Now we combine supply and demand together. The vertical axis represents the price of ice cream cones, for example, calculated in đồng. The horizontal axis means the quantity of ice cream cones, calculated in units. The supply curve is upward sloping. The demand curve slopes downward. And if these two curves cross at here, you call equilibrium. And from this point, from this equilibrium, you reflect on the vertical axis. Okay. So you can determine the equilibrium price. And if you reflect this point to the horizontal axis, you can determine the equilibrium quantity. What is the equilibrium quantity? It means that the quantity supply equals the quantity demanded. Equilibrium quantity means amount of goods sellers want to sell equals the amount of goods buyers want to buy. This is the meaning of equilibrium quantity. And what is the equilibrium price? This one means the price of a good of a cost, the price of the price of a good seller want to sell equals the price of this good buyer want to buy. The price of the price of a good sellers want to sell equals the price of this good buyers want to buy. This is the meaning of equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Suppose I give you two equations related to the supply curve and the demand curve, such as QS equals 50 plus 5P. The demand curve has its equation QD equals 100 minus 5P. And please determine the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. I would like to invite Phạm Trần Xuân Kha. The second call for Phạm Trần Xuân Kha.
Can you repeat the question that, because I'm noting so I can hear exactly what you are asked.
Please
Sorry.
determine, right, the price, the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity based on the equation of the supply curve and the demand curve. Do you understand? Do you understand my question or not?
I cannot understand your question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Xuân Kha get the first negative mark. Another one.
Teacher, I can answer.
No, thank you. I'm sure you can tell me correctly, but I would like to call another one. Bùi Diệu Linh.
Yes, sir. So the equilibrium price is 5, and the equilibrium quantity is 75.
Thank you. It's correct. It's very easy. But Sun Kang, right, she couldn't understand my requirement, although I repeat twice. I think because she didn't follow very carefully my explanations. That's why she didn't understand what I would like, what I want to ask. It's very easy. And this is the first step. The second step, the supply curve crosses the demand curve. And suppose the equilibrium price is here and the equilibrium quantity. But now the price is higher than its equilibrium. You replace the new price, the actual price, to the equation of the demand, to the demand equation. And you replace this price to the supply equation. You can easily determine the quantity demanded at the price 2.5 and the quantity supplied at the same price. The same price, right? But the quantity demanded is different from the quantity supplied. The quantity supply is higher than the quantity demanded, and it causes the surplus. And when the surplus happens, the price should reduce to its equilibrium. Why? Because if the price reduces from 2.5 to 2.3, for example, and it still has a surplus, the surplus is smaller, right? It's smaller, but it still has a surplus, and that's why the price of 2.3 continue to reduce to its equilibrium. Surplus are also called excess supply. And the second case, the price and quantity equilibrium is here. Now the price is above the equilibrium price, and it causes the shortage because at the price of 1.5, the quantity demanded is higher than the quantity supplied. And when the shortage happens, the price should increase to come back to its equilibrium. So I summarize a little bit. There are three states of a market. Three states of the market. Firstly, if QS equals QD, right, the market is in equilibrium. If QS is higher than QD, and it causes a surplus. And if QS smaller than QD, the shortage happens. There are three states of a market, or equilibrium, or surplus, or shortage. It's easy to understand, I think. And I go to the last part, supply and demand together. But there are three steps to analyzing changes in equilibrium. Decide whether the event shifts the supply curve and demand curve is step 2, step 3. And I use one example. Right? Suppose initially, the market is in equilibrium. And this point is called initial equilibrium. Suddenly, the weather becomes hotter. And there is a heat wave. People feel very thirsty. And now analyze the impact, the effect of the heat wave to the market for ice cream cones. I repeat, the question is, analyze the impact of the heat wave to the market for ice cream cones. We analyze based on 3 steps. Step 1. Determine this event affect the supply or demand. Affect a supply or demand. It's very important. Step 1. If you determine wrongly the step 1, of course, step 2 and step 3 will be incorrect. Because of the heat wave, people feel thirsty and they would like to buy more ice cream cones. It means that this event affects the D curve or the demand curve. Demand curve, quantity demanded. What are the differences between them? Please refer to the to my explanations before that. I don't repeat these explanations anymore, but it's you to review the differences between demand curve, quantity demanded. I repeat, step 1. Finally, we can determine that this event affects the demand. Of course, the demand or the demand curve. Step 2. This event shifts the demand curve to the left or to the right. People would like to have more ice cream cones. People want to buy more ice cream cones. That's why the D curve shifts to the right. The D curve shifts to the right. Step 3. Determine the new equilibrium. It's very easy. Here is a new equilibrium. Compare to the initial one to see the change in price and quantity. I repeat, step 3. Determine the new equilibrium. Compare to the initial one to see the change in price and in quantity. It's very easy, right? From A to B. Suppose here is a A and here is a B. From A to B, you reflect A and B to the vertical and horizontal axis. You easily notice that the price increases and the quantity increases too. Sorry. The price increases, the quantity increases too. That's all. This is an example related to demand, right? Related to the shift in demand curve. Similarly, a change in market equilibrium due to a shift in supply. You read at home. Three steps. Step 1, 2, 3. And now we analyze shifts in both supply and demand. One summer, there is a hurricane and heat wave. A hurricane destroyed part of sugar cane crop. As you know, to produce ice cream, producers need sugar. Because the sugar cane crop is destroyed by the hurricane. That's why the price of sugar increases. The price of sugar increases. It means that the cost of production increases. The price of sugar increases. The cost of materials increases. That's why the cost of production goes up. The cost of production goes up. Suppose there is no change in taxes, no change in price. Why there is no change in price? Because we are examining a competitive market. And in a competitive market, each seller is a price taker. Takes the price as given. Accept the price as given. Follow the price as given. I already told you at the beginning of the chapter. That's why if the price unchanged in a competitive market, taxes unchanged, the cost increases, the profit per unit decreases. And this discourages sellers or producers to sell or to produce less and less, because the profit per unit decreases. Producers now tend to produce less and less. That's why the supply curve shifts to the left. So the heat wave, this event affects the demand. The hurricane affects the supply. Step 1. Step 2, the demand curve shifts to the right. People need more ice cream cones as due to the heat wave. And producers produce less ice cream cone. The supply curve shifts to the left. And finally, right, determine the new equilibrium to determine the change in price and in quantity. And now you take a look on this on these graphs. The first one, the panel A, in the panel A and panel B. Initially, the market is in equilibrium. The heat wave shift the D curve to the right. But as you see, right, the distance of the shift is different. This one is longer. This one is a shorter. But they both correct. Both are correct because the heat wave shifts the D curve to the right. The hurricane destroyed part of sugarcane crop. That's why the supply curve shift to the left with different distances. This one is longer. This one is shorter. And what is the new equilibrium? B is the new equilibrium. You compare B to A. You notice that the price increases for both A and B panel. The price increases. But how about the quantity? The quantity for panel A increases, but in panel B decreases. It means that you cannot determine exactly the change in quantity. In this case, the quantity increases, and in other case decreases. And the third possibility is if I shift the demand curve and the supply curve with the same distance, of shifts in supply and demand curves. Where is the new equilibrium? The new one is here. If the supply curve and the demand curve shifts with the same distance, and finally, right, the price increases from A to B. The price increases, but the quantity unchanged. Compare B to A. Right? The quantity unchanged. So there are three possibilities. Price increases, the quantity increases. Step 3, right? Price increases, the quantity decreases. As you see in the panel A and B 1 minute ago. And the third possibility, price increases, but the quantity unchanged. So you can refer to this table, right, to determine the change in price and in quantity. Please refer at home. You can use this table as a reference to do exercises like this in this case. As this case, you can use this table as a reference. But I have another way to resolve the question. Another way to get the final solution. Please follow. The price here, the quantity is here, the demand curve, the supply curve, and initial equilibrium. That's all. I don't draw another curve, another supply curve, or another demand curve. But I can imagine the heat wave affects the D curve, shift the D curve to the right. Instead of drawing the new D curve as this, I imagine, right, the new D curve is here. And this new D curve crosses the supply curve at here. And from here to here, you'll notice that the price increases and the quantity increases too. Instead of drawing a new D curve, find down the new equilibrium compared old and new equilibrium. You notice that the price increases and the quantity increases. But it's no need, it's unnecessary. And the hurricane destroyed sugar cane crop, and this shifts the supply curve to the left. You don't care about the distance anymore. What you care is the direction of the shift. Supply curve shift to the left, and the new equilibrium is here. But it is unnecessary. The supply curve shift to the left, the new equilibrium is here. Compare this point to this point. You notice that the price increases and the quantity decreases. And if these two events happen at the same time, you make an addition. Look like that. Looks like that. What you can conclude is price, the equilibrium price increases, but the equilibrium quantity is ambiguous. It's unclear. It's not obvious. Undetermined. If you have some value such as the quantity, the equilibrium quantity increases by 100 units, it decreases by 120 units of a cost. Finally, right, the quantity decreases by 20. Suppose the quantity decreases by 90. Finally, you can conclude that the quantity increases by 10. Or the quantity decreases by 100. You can conclude that the quantity unchanged. Unfortunately, you don't have any figure, any value. That's why you conclude that we cannot determine the exact quantity because it may be increased, it may be higher, it may be lower, and it may be unchanged. That's why the quantity is ambiguous. Yeah, this is the end of the chapter. So in this chapter, right, you learn what is the demand. The demand. In the first part related to demand, you have to distinguish what is the quantity demanded, the law of demand, demand schedule, demand curve, demand equation. Distinction between the movement along the D curve and the shift in the D curve, and the difference between demand and quantity demanded. Lot of things, right, related to the first part. Similarly, in the second part related to supply, you have to understand what is the quantity supply, the law of supply, supply schedule, supply curve, supply equation, movement along the supply curve, and the shift in the supply curve, and the distinction between supply and quantity supply. They are not the same. And finally, we combine supply and demand together. And there are three states of a market: equilibrium, surplus, shortage. And you need to understand well the three steps to analyzing the change in equilibrium. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And related to this one, you have some exercises to do. Please determine the change in the price. The price here is an equilibrium price, right? And in quantity. I repeat, the question is, the requirement is, please determine the change in price and in quantity in the following cases. The first case, suppose we are examining the market for X. X is the name of the of the good. We are examining the market for X. And the question is, please determine the change in the price and in quantity. Change in the price here is an equilibrium price. And the change in Q, in quantity here is an equilibrium quantity in the following cases. The first one, suppose X is a normal good. Suppose X is a normal good. And the income of households increases. The income of households increases. Tôi đọc một cách đầy đủ. I read the full phrase. Nhưng mà tôi ghi vắn tắt. Các bạn nào ghi theo tôi về nhà đọc không hiểu là chuyện bình thường và là ráng chịu. Giáo viên không có nhiệm vụ là phải đọc xong là phải ghi những gì bạn giáo viên đọc, không có. Nhiệm vụ sinh viên là lắng nghe và ghi lại, về nhà đọc lại bài tập sao cho hiểu thì mới làm bài được. Suppose X is a normal good and the income of households increases. The cost to produce the good X decreases. The cost to produce the good X decreases. The second case, the cost of labor to produce the good X increases. The cost of labor to produce the good X increases. The price of substitutes for X decreases. The price of substitutes for X decreases. The third case, the interest rate decreases. You know well that firm, right, always need money. Firms always need money, so they can borrow money from the bank, and the bank can charge the borrowers based on the interest rate. Higher interest rate, it means that you have to pay higher interest for lenders such as the banks. But in this case, right, lower interest rate is lower. It means that you pay less money as interest to the bank. Interest rate decreases, and the price of complements 2x increases. The price of complements 2x increases. Yeah, there are 3 cases, and based on my sample, right? Step 1, you use 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, to determine the change in price and the change in equilibrium. And now you can take you can take your smartphone to take picture for multiple choice questions to do at home. Question 1. Two. 3. 4. 5. 6.
Dạ thầy ơi, mạng của thầy lát trên là nó mới hiện ở cái số 3, em chưa nhìn thấy cái số 4 và cái thứ 5 đó thầy.
Tôi muốn hỏi bạn Nguyễn Trần Gia Linh.
Dạ.
Trên màn hình máy tính của em hiện ra câu số mấy rồi?
Dạ câu số 6.
Câu số 6. Như vậy bạn trai lúc nãy hỏi tôi là do cái mạng của bạn bị lag, không phải mạng của tôi. Bạn Hồ Thị Trúc Mai.
Dạ, yes sir.
Trên màn hình của em hiện ra câu số mấy rồi?
Dạ số 6 ạ.
Cảm ơn bạn đã phản hồi. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. Yeah, this is the last question, right? And before going to the next chapter, right, I think it's better to take a short break in 15 minutes. And during the break, you can quit the class, then you rejoin after. So we come back to the lesson. I present the chapter 5, elasticity and its application. I would like to call Giáp Xuân Nghi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Do you hear my voice or not?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Thank you. Your voice is clear too. Thank you for your feedback. What is elasticity? Right. What kinds of issue can elasticity help us to understand, etc.? Elasticity is the name, right, from the another word, another adjective, elastic. Measure of the responsiveness of quantity demanded or quantity supplied to a change in one of its determinants. Measure of the responsiveness of quantity demanded or of quantity supply to a change in one of its determinants, to the change in one of its variable. As you know, the quantity demanded of the good X depends not only on the price of the good X, but also the income. Depends on the income. Depends on the taste, on the price of substitutes, the price of complements, etc. And based on the law of demand, if the price increases, other things unchanged, the quantity demanded falls, and vice versa. This is the content in the previous chapter. Today we come back to the law of demand, but the price increases not by how many monetary units, how many đồng in Vietnam, for example, for instance, but the price of the good X increases by 1%. The price of the good X increases by 1%, not by 1 đồng, one monetary unit, but 1%. The quantity demanded decreases not by how many units, but decreases by how many percent. This is elasticity, right? The measure of the responsiveness of quantity demanded. The quantity demanded respond, right? The change in quantity demanded respond to a change in the price. In this case, you have the price elasticity of demand. But if you focus on the income, suppose the price unchanged, the taste unchanged, other variables unchanged. If the income increases by 1%, and how is the change in quantity demanded? How is the change in how many percent change in quantity demanded? You cannot determine or increase or decrease because you don't know what kind of X is. If X is a normal good, income increases, the quantity demanded increases too. But X is an inferior good, cheaper good. Income increases by 1%. The quantity demanded falls by how many percent? And in this case, you have another elasticity called income elasticity of demand, price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand. again, right? Elasticity measure of the responsiveness of quantity demanded to a change in one of its determinants, such as price, income, price of substitutes, etc. Similarly, QS, the quantity supply of the good X, depends on the price of the good X, depends on the cost of production, depends on taxes, technology, etc. And based on the law of supply, right? The price increases, other things don't change. Then the quantity supply increases too. But if you focus on elasticity, you can say the price of the good X increases by 1%, and the quantity supply of the good X increases by how many percent? In this case, you have the price elasticity of supply. And come back to this definition again, right? The measure of the responsiveness of quantity supply to a change in one of its determinants, to a change in price, or to the change in cost, or to the change in taxes. And this is the general definition of elasticity, or of demand, or of supply. And now you focus on the first one, the price elasticity of demand. If I use the letter E for elasticity, P is the price and D is demand. And I pronounce, right? The price elasticity of demand of the good X equals the percentage change in quantity demanded of the good X over the percentage change in the price of the good X. I repeat, the price elasticity of demand of the good X equals the percentage change in QD, quantity demanded, of the good X over the percentage change in the price of the good X. The price changes first, then the quantity demanded after. That's why I use this arrow, right, to show the direction. The price changes first, then the quantity demanded after. And what is the meaning of the price elasticity? Suppose I give you a value, right, a number, because the price and the quantity demanded change in opposite directions. That's why the elasticity is negative. Minus 0.2. Minus 0.2 means if the price of the good X increases by 1%, the quantity demanded, the market quantity demanded of the good X falls by 0.2%. I use the plus sign, right, to tell you about the increase, and the minus sign for a decrease, and vice versa. If the price of the good X decreases by 1%, then the quantity demanded increases by 0.2%. 0.2 divided by 1 is 0.2. Minus divided by plus, you have negative value. Yeah, this is the meaning of the price elasticity of demand. The change in QD is located in numerator. Tử số. And the change in price is located in denominator. Mẫu số. Always remember that the change in QD is located in numerator and the change in price is located in denominator. I give you 30 seconds, right, to observe what I have just written on the board. 30 seconds for the observation, right, of this one. And after that, I ask you something related to the price elasticity of demand. And I would like to call Nguyễn Hồng Liên, sorry. Nguyễn Hồng Liên.
Yes, teacher.
Do you understand what I have just explained to you?
Yes, teacher. I can understand it.
And now, if I give you another example, the price elasticity of demand of the aircon, right? The air conditioner equals -3. Sometimes you need the aircon, right? Especially in hot summer evening, and without aircon, your sleep is maybe not good, right? And what is the meaning of -3?
-3 is the price elasticity of demand for air conditioner.
The meaning, not the name. I don't ask you about the name of -3, but I ask you about the meaning.
That means when the price of the air conditioner rises, when the price of the aircon rises, the quantity demanded for aircon will.
It's wrong. It's wrong. Price increases, quantity demanded falls. But this is not the price elasticity. This is not the elasticity, because of the elasticity based on percentage. You said that, sir, the price of the aircon increases, the quantity demanded for aircon decreases. It's wrong. It's not the real meaning of -3. Understand?
Yes.
Again.
So if the price rises 1%, so the quantity
tăng lên 1%, tăng thêm 1%, người ta gọi là rises by, giảm bớt 1%, decreases by, reduces by, falls by. Again.
If the price increases by 1%.
The price of what?
The price of aircon increases by 1%. So the quantity of aircon
quantity demanded
of aircon will decrease.
Not aircon, aircon.
Of aircon.
You say the sun or the sun.
The sun.
This is my son or this is my son.
This is my son.
My son. What aircon? Aircon. What aircon is in brief of air conditioner. Again.
If the price of aircon increases by 1%, so the quantity demanded of aircon will decrease by decreases by 3%. And vice versa.
Other things
unchanged.
Again, the full phrase, the full statement.
If the price of aircon increases by 1%, so the quantity demanded of aircon decreases by 3%, and everything else unchanged.
And vice versa. Other
and
things unchanged. Again.
If the price of aircon increases by 1%, so the quantity demanded of aircon decreases by 3%, and vice versa, and everything else is unchanged.
What is vice versa?
Là ngược lại.
No, I don't need a translation.
So if the price decreases by 1%, so the quantity increases by 3%. Demanded.
Again.
If the price of aircon decreases by 1%, so the quantity demanded of aircon increases by 3%.
Thank you. Có nhiều, đọc quá trình nhiều lần. The law of demand states that when the price increases, the quantity demanded falls, and vice versa, other things equal. Today we apply the law of demand, but for the elasticity focuses on percentage change in price and percentage change in quantity demanded. This is the meaning of -3, right? Price of aircon increases by 1%. The quantity demanded falls. It leads to a decrease in quantity demanded. It means that the quantity demanded falls by 3% and vice versa, other things equal. This is the meaning of price elasticity of demand. And now I talk about calculation. There are two ways to calculate the price elasticity of demand. Are you based on arc? Are you based on point? What is a point? What is the arc? And here is the demand curve. It is downward sloping. This is the point A. This is the point B. And between A and B, you have an arc of segment. And focus on the arc first, then point after. Suppose I give you some value, PA, the price, and the QSA, suppose is 1 and 10, and at the point B, the price is 2, 1, 2, 8, 10, and from A to B, right? From A to B. Focus on the direction from A to B. How to calculate the price elasticity of demand? Remember that in the numerator, right? In numerator, the percentage change in QD is located in numerator. But how to calculate the percentage change? The percentage change. We base on the standard method. A standard method. To calculate the percentage, you take the end value minus the start value, all divided by start value, times 100. The first method, but nowadays, right, economists use to calculate elasticities. Economists use not standard method, but midpoint method. To calculate the percentage, we take the end value minus the start value, but all divided by not by start value, but mid value. What is the mid value? You take the end, you take the average value of end and start value. The end value plus start value all divided by 2. It means that you take the average value of end and start value. And this is the method used to calculate the percentage, the price elasticity of demand. That's why please ignore the standard method, because now it's correct way for mathematics. It's correct for mathematics, but it is not correct for calculating price elasticity of demand, because economists nowadays use the midpoint method. And how to use the midpoint method? Come back to the graph. The percentage change in QD is located in numerator, right? That's why you take a look on this. Because the price elasticity of demand is always negative, so you place the minus sign here. Always negative, because the change in price and change in quantity demanded are always opposite. Minus change in QD, you take 10 minus 8 is a 2, divided by mid value of 10 and 8. Mid value is 9 times 100. All divided by percentage change in price. Percentage change in price. You take the difference between 2 and 1. 2 minus 1 is a 1. divided by mid value of 1 and 2. 1 and 2 mid value is a 1.5. And finally, you have the result such as 2 times 1.5 is a 3. 3 over 9 is a 1/3. Now, from A to B or from B to A, they are the same. In this case, you don't care about the direction from A to B or from B to A. From A to B or from B to A. You don't care about the direction anymore. Tôi tóm lược phần này một chút bằng tiếng Việt. Bạn và tôi đang tính cái arc elasticity of demand. Muốn tính cái arc elasticity thì ta thay vì dựa trên cái standard method. Nếu dựa trên cái standard method thì từ A đến B, dựa trên cái standard method thì cái price elasticity of demand from A to B sẽ khác với lại price elasticity of demand from B to A nếu bạn dựa trên standard method. Nào xuyên về nhà tự làm, tôi cho hai con số lúc nãy đó, price từ 1 đến 2, quantity demanded từ 8 đến 10, hai con số thôi, 4 con số cho 20. Về nhà siêng năng thì nên làm để thấy rằng là dựa trên cái standard method, chúng ta lấy n value minus start value all divided by start value times 100 thì bạn thấy nó khác. Và chính vì sự khác biệt như vậy cho nên ngày nay đó, để khắc phục, để overcome cái problem này thì các nhà kinh tế họ không dùng standard method nữa mà họ dùng midpoint method. Và nếu midpoint method thì chúng ta thấy là cái không còn quan tâm đến cái chiều của cái movement nữa. Price elasticity of demand from A to B lúc này nó bằng với lại cái price elasticity of demand from B to A. Mà nếu mà from B to A bằng from A to B thì bạn không có care about cái direction nữa. Vậy thì phương pháp này nó dễ tính hơn, dễ chịu hơn so với lại cái standard method. Bởi vì standard method dựa trên cái chiều, cái nào là start value, cái nào là end value. End trừ start, tất cả chỉ cho start value. Cái rắc rối ở chỗ tất cả chỉ cho start value. Còn bây giờ chúng ta thấy end value trừ start value, tất cả chỉ cho mid value. Thì chúng ta không quan tâm đến cái chiều nữa. Và như vậy tất cả các price elasticity tính theo arc trong chương này đều dựa trên cái midpoint method chứ không dựa trên standard method. Và chúng ta đã kết quả đây là price elasticity of demand equals 1 minus 1 over 3 minus 1/3. And tell me, what is the meaning of minus 1/3? Phạm Huỳnh Minh Quang.
Yes, sir. Minus 1/3 means. Wait, let me see it for a little bit. Because depend on the demand law. Wait, I might get the wrong direction.
Thank you, Minh Quang. Turn off your mic. Phạm Huỳnh Minh Quang get the second negative mark. Để cho trong lớp bạn Vinh Quang ngồi chơi, đúng không? Chơi game, ngủ gục. Thành ra khi hỏi đến meaning of -1/3 lung tung. Lúc nãy tôi đưa ra cái mẫu, rồi sau đó tôi nhờ bạn Quỳnh Như đó trả lời rất là sửa tới sửa lui, cuối cùng bạn trả lời hoàn chỉnh. Đến bạn Quỳnh Quang, em không biết. You deserve for the negative mark. Hồ Tiến Tú.
Yes, it's true. My answer is the price. The price. If the price increase 1%, so the elasticity of demand curve will
Thank you, Tiến Tú.
decrease.
Thank you.
Oh no, what?
That's enough. Hồ Tiến Tú get the second negative mark. Another one. Phan Hồng Uyên Vi.
Yes, sir. My answer is if the price of X increase 1%, then the quantity demanded of X.
Stop temporarily. Lớp này là một cái lớp lười biếng, có thể lười biếng hoặc không biết nha. Tôi nghĩ rằng là nhiều bạn không biết chia động từ. Câu thứ ba số ít. Đến hôm nay tôi khẳng định được điều đó. Thưa thầy, tụi em không có lười, có điều tụi em không biết chia thầy ơi. Thành ra khi nói là the price increase, một số sinh viên thì lười, cứ động từ nguyên mẫu, cứ lấy nó cho dễ. The price increase by 1%, ví dụ vậy. Một số thì lười, nhưng mà tôi cho rằng số đông đó thì không biết. Bạn học tiếng Anh, bạn học tiếng Anh cấp phổ thông, bạn lên bậc đại học học tiếng Anh tiếp, những môn học bằng tiếng Anh, nhưng bạn không biết chia động từ của ba số ít. Thành ra nãy giờ 10 sinh viên đó chỉ có một hai sinh viên là biết chia và đọc là increases. Học tiếng Anh mà không biết chia động từ của ba số ít thì ngồi trong lớp tiếng Anh làm gì? Tôi hỏi các em, ngồi trong lớp tiếng Anh làm gì? Uổng tiền cha mẹ đóng cho mình học đến tiếng Việt cho rồi. Hết sinh viên này đến sinh viên khác. Ví dụ the price fall by gì đó, nó là câu thứ ba số ít thì phải là falls, increases, decreases. Sửa hoài nghe bắt ngán luôn mà không sửa hết được, bởi vì có biết đâu mà sửa. Một số ít thì lười, một số khác thì không biết mà vẫn ngồi vào lớp học tiếng Anh này. Tôi không phải giáo viên tiếng Anh, tôi nói đôi khi cũng bị sai nữa, nhưng mà những gì tôi biết tôi chia sẻ với các em. Các em lưu ý cái này nha.
I'm sorry, teacher. I can say it again. If the price of X increases by 1%, then the quantity demanded of X falls by 1/3%, all the things unchanged, and vice versa.
Your statement is correct, but instead of saying like that, I change a little bit. If the price increases by 3%, the quantity demanded decreases by 1%. The same. Instead of saying the price increases by 1%, the quantity demanded falls by 1/3%. It's the same result, but this one is easier for you, right, to say. This one is a little bit difficult for you to say. 1/3 over 1 divided by 1 is a 1/3. 1 over 3 is a 1/3. The same. Do you understand, V?
Yes, sir.
And vice versa, right? If the price decreases by 3%, the quantity demanded increases by 1%. Instead of saying decreases by 1% and the quantity demanded increases by 1/3%, the same. Thank you. And this is the arc elasticity. And now I focus. You focus on the point elasticity instead of focusing on the arc. Now you concentrate on the point A. And how to measure the elasticity at the point A? You need this formula. The price elasticity at a particular point on the demand curve. In the above formula, right? I have just explained to you the change in QD over the change in QD or divided by mid value of QD. The change in P over the mid value of P times 100. Then you get another, you can rearrange like such as the change in QD over the change in P, then you time P, right, over QD. P here is the mid value of price, and QD here is the mid value of QD, quantity demand. Percentage change in QD over percentage change in price times P over QD. Start from here. You can rearrange like this one. That's why you have the formula, right? Change in A, etc. Times P over QD. But for the point elasticity, you replace the change in QD by dQD. You replace the change in price by dP. And how can you pronounce? What is how can you read this one? dQD over dP is not a division. It's not a division. Not a division. Here is the division. You take the change in QD, you divide by the change in P. This is a division. But this is not the division. You are taking the derivative of QD respect to P. Take the derivative respect to P. Bạn đang lấy đạo hàm của hàm QD thay biến số là P. Chúng ta gọi là take the derivative of QD respect to P. Respect giống như là tôn trọng đó, nhưng mà trong toán học từ đó không phải tôn trọng. Giống như từ product bình thường là sản phẩm, nhưng mà trong số học product là tích số. I take the derivative of QD respect to P. Then I time P over QD. P and QD here are coordinates of the point. Coordinates là tọa độ of the point. And here is an application. Suppose the D curve has its equation QD equals to 100 minus 5P. And the question is, at the price of 2, please tell me the price elasticity of demand. And based on the formula, I can write. Firstly, you have to take the derivative of QD respect to P. Very easy, right? Minus 5. Based on the equation. the derivative of QD respect to P is a -5 times. When the price is a 2, you replace the price of you replace the price here by 2, and you calculate the quantity demanded is a 90. The quantity demanded is a 90. 2 and 90 are coordinates of the point A. -5 times P over QD. Then the result is 1/9, -1/9. It's very easy to calculate the point elasticity based on this formula. The derivative of QD, I repeat many times, right? Take the derivative of QD respect to Q, then you time P over QD. Normally, right? Normally, the price elasticity of demand is always negative. Always negative. That's why we use the absolute value, right, to measure the size of price elasticity of demand. To measure the size, kích cỡ, độ lớn of the price elasticity of demand, we use the absolute value. It means that you can drop the minus sign. For example, the price elasticity of demand of rice equals -0.2. And if you take the absolute value of this, you have 0.2. And 0.2 is smaller than 1. And when the price elasticity is smaller than 1, you can say the demand is inelastic. The demand is inelastic. The price elasticity of the aircon is a -3. -3. Absolute value is a 3. 3 is a higher than 1. You can say the demand for aircon, the demand for aircon is elastic. Cái price elasticity of demand luôn luôn là mang dấu âm. Giá tăng 1% thì lượng cầu giảm bao nhiêu phần trăm và ngược lại. Và vì vậy, để đo được cái độ lớn của cái elasticity này, bạn bắt buộc phải dùng cái absolute value. Và nghĩa là bạn bỏ đi dấu trừ, bạn lấy số dương thôi. Và nhờ cái absolute value này, bạn mới biết được là nó lớn hơn 1 hay nhỏ hơn 1. Cái số âm luôn luôn là nhỏ hơn 1 rồi. Số âm luôn luôn nhỏ hơn 0 nữa chứ. Số âm luôn luôn nhỏ hơn 0. Vậy làm sao đo được cái độ lớn của nó? Và bạn thấy muốn đo độ lớn của nó, bạn phải bỏ dấu trừ đi. Tức là bạn lấy cái absolute value. Lúc này bạn có đánh giá được là nó trên 1 hay là dưới 1. Nếu trên 1 người ta gọi là elastic, mà dưới 1 người ta gọi là inelastic. Cho nên trong sách của anh kia bạn đọc hay trong nhiều sách khác, bạn thấy người ta ghi số dương mà. Cái price, ví dụ price elasticity of demand of aircon equals 3. Mà khi mà bạn thấy người ta ghi như vậy thì mặc định rằng người ta đã lấy cái absolute value. Cái bản chất của nó luôn luôn mang dấu âm nha. Luôn luôn nó phải là âm. Cái law of demand sao mà dương được. Đó là điều lưu ý. And anything else? I talk about the variety of demand curves. There are 5 cases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I show you on the graph. First one. If the elasticity is in brief of price elasticity of demand equals 0. percentage change in QD over percentage change in price. If there's no change, there's no change in QD, but the price can increase or decrease. The price can increase or decrease. It means that the change in price is a different from zero. Then the price elasticity equals zero. That's why in this case the demand curve is a vertical. The demand curve is a vertical. At any price increases or even decreases, but there's no change in quantity demanded. No change in quantity demanded. And according to you, this good, right? This good is considered as necessary or unnecessary. The good related to this case, the price of the good X, the quantity of the good X, the good X in this case is considered as a necessary or unnecessary, and why? Who can tell me? Right?
I will answer this question. In my opinion, I think the good is necessary because when the price rises,
I'm sorry.
yes.
I got a mistake. This good is extremely, right? Is extremely necessary or extremely unnecessary. Extreme. Yeah. Come back to the question. This good is according to you, this good is considered as extremely necessary or extremely unnecessary, and why?
I think this good is extremely necessary because when the price rises, people still have the demand to buy this good. And the quantity of demand is unchanged.
Not quantity of demand, the quantity demanded.
The quantity demanded, I'm sorry.
And tell me, also you, right? Tell me, when the price decreases from 4 to 2, the quantity demanded unchanged. How can you call this one is extremely necessary?
I think their demand do not depend on the price. They just want to have that good. So if the price increases or decreases, they still want to buy it.
Can you give me a good in for this case?
For example, medicine for diabetes. Yeah.
Diabetics.
Diabetes.
Drug, right? Drug for diabetics.
Yes.
If the price of this drug increases or decreases, you need the same quantity demanded, right? For drug.
Yes.
You need the same quantity demanded for drug of diabetics.
Yes, sir.
Even the price increases or decreases.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Drug, special drug for diabetics. Blood, right? Blood. you got an accident and you lost a lot, you lost lot of blood, and the doctor asked your family to buy 2 liters of blood for you. Unfortunately, right, today the price of blood increases, but your family try to buy 2 liters of blood as the requirement of the doctor. Or today the price of a unit of blood decreases, but because you need only 2 liters, right, your family buy only 2 liters, more than two, but not less than 2, but more than 2. In this case, blood is considered as extremely necessary, because if there's no blood, you can die, you cannot alive. Thank you. Bonus mark for you. The first one. The second one. I'm sorry. When the demand curve is vertical, the price elasticity equals 0. You can say the demand is perfectly inelastic. The demand of the good X is perfectly inelastic. The second case, the price elasticity of demand is smaller than 1. The price increases by 22.2%, and the quantity demanded falls by 10.5%. And tell me how to get this result. Where does it come from? Where does it come from? Where does this value come from? And I would like to invite Tu Uyên.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me?
I think the 22.2% is come from, I would take the 5 minus 4.
5. The change, right? The change in price equals. Speak loudly.
5 minus 4. Over 4.5 times 100.
Thank you. It's correct. Right? You use the midpoint method. That's why 5 minus 4 over the mid value of n and start value. Similarly, right? The same calculation to get 10.5%. And you observe the demand curve. You notice that this demand curve is relatively steep. The price, the Q. When the demand curve is relatively steep, you take 2 points on the D curve. You reflect these 2 points on vertical and horizontal axis. You easily notice that the change in price, right, is higher than the change in QD. Suppose from A to B, right, the change in price, the increase in price is higher than the decrease in quantity demanded. The change in price, the change in QD, because the change in price is higher than change in QD. That's why this fraction, right, is higher than 1. Of course, this fraction is the price elasticity of demand. I'm sorry, smaller than 1. The change in QD is smaller than the change in price, and that's why this fraction is smaller than 1. And in this case, the demand is inelastic. The demand is inelastic. The demand is inelastic. And the demand curve is relatively steep. The third one, unit elastic demand. The demand has a unit elasticity. The price increases by 22.2%, leads to a 22.2% decrease in QD. 22.2% over 22.2%. So you get a unit elasticity. And look, this graph. Imagine this is a straight line, right? And the angle from the demand curve to horizontal axis is a 45 degrees. That's why the change in price equals the change in quantity demanded. And this angle is a 45 degrees. 45 degrees. The fourth one, the demand curve is relatively flat. The change in price is smaller than the change in quantity demanded. The change in quantity demanded is higher than the change in price. The demand curve is relatively flat, and you can say the demand is elastic. Tôi cho rằng bài học ngày hôm nay đó rất nhiều bạn đã quên thì bằng cách quản bởi sau Tết, bởi trước Tết. Trong Tết bạn nghỉ giải lao là chuyện bình thường, mà từ đầu thứ Hai đến giờ là bạn không có thèm xem bài. Hôm sau đó bạn học offline với tôi đúng không? Và bạn không xem bài trước là tôi trừ điểm bạn nặng lắm đó. Nhiệm vụ sinh viên là phải xem bài trước khi đến lớp mà. Không học bài thuộc lòng giống như phổ thông, nhưng mà ít nhất phải xem bài trước khi đến lớp. Và bạn trả lời phải trung thực. Bạn trả lời, nếu mà bạn trả lời mà không có honestly, tôi biết ngay. Tôi hỏi vài câu là tôi biết bạn có xem bài hay không. Tôi sẽ trừ điểm nặng lắm á. Nhắc lại, trừ điểm nặng quá, số điểm trừ quá nhiều, tôi chuyển sang cái online short test. Bởi vì nhiều bạn đến bây giờ học xong cái chapter 4 vẫn không phân biệt được demand, quantity demanded. Đối với họ, cầu nào chả là cầu. Demand là cầu, quantity demanded là lượng cầu. Lượng cầu khác nhau gì đâu. Hết sức cẩn thận. Tôi đã giải thích rất chi tiết trước Tết rồi, bây giờ không giải thích nữa. Giải thích lại mà bạn không nắm được cũng như không. Bạn đã giải thích rồi mà bạn nắm được thì đến bây giờ bạn vẫn có thể nhớ được. Cho nên là cẩn thận một chút. Demand, quantity demanded là hai khái niệm không giống nhau. So you can say the demand is elastic because the elasticity is higher than 1. I would like to talk more about this one. Back to inelastic demand. The demand is inelastic. The demand is inelastic. What kind of good related to this one? Normally, the price related to this demand curve is considered as necessary. When a good is necessary, you can say this good is a necessity. If the good is necessary for you, it means that this good is a necessity. Suppose the price elasticity demand of rice equals 0.2. 0.2 means I drop the minus sign, right? But remember that the price elasticity of demand is always negative. That's why if the price increases by 1%, the quantity demanded falls not too much, only 0.2%. The price increases too much, but the quantity demanded falls not too much. Why? Because the rice is a necessity for Vietnamese people, for you and me at this moment. We don't know in 100 years, right? In the future, rice is still a necessity or not. But right now, this is a necessity for us. That's why price increases too much, but quantity demanded falls not too much. And the demand for rice is inelastic. And if a good is not necessary, is unnecessary, this is not a necessity. If the good is not a necessity or a luxury, it may be a luxury. Such as the price elasticity of demand of iPhone Pro Max 14. Suppose iPhone Pro Max 14 has price elasticity such as 5. 5 here is a minus 5. If the price increases by 1%, the quantity demanded falls by 5%. And the elasticity is higher than 1. This is a luxury. If I get this iPhone, it's good, right? It's good. But if I cannot get this phone, my life unchanged, because I still has my own Samsung Samsung smartphone. If I get iPhone Pro Max, it's very good for me. Without it, I can use my own Samsung phone. No problem. And in this case, if the elasticity is higher than 1, the demand is elastic. We are talking about good considered as not necessary. And finally, right, the price elasticity of demand equal infinity. A value different from 0 over 0. Then you have infinity. There's no change in price. There's no change in price. But the quantity demanded or increases or decreases. and the demand curve is a horizontal. It's a totally flat horizontal. The good in this case is considered as extremely unnecessary. Extremely unnecessary. And now take a look back on this slide. You have 5 cases for the demand curve. The first one, the demand is perfectly inelastic. Elasticity equals 0, and the demand curve is a vertical. The demand is a perfectly elastic. Yeah, this is the 2 opposite cases. Opposite. Elasticity equal infinity, right? And the demand curve is horizontal. Vertical, horizontal. Demand is inelastic. Inelastic. If the price elasticity of demand is smaller than 1, and the demand curve is relatively steep, contrarily, right? You have the demand is elastic. If elasticity is higher than 1, and the demand curve is flat, is relatively flat. Steep and flat, they are opposite. Vertical and horizontal, they are opposite. And in the middle, you have the demand, the price elasticity equals 1. The demand has a unit elasticity, and the demand curve has intermediate slope. The 45 degrees angle between the demand curve and the horizontal axis. And if I combine all of them in one graph, you can see like this: the price, the quantity. Right? The demand curve is a vertical. Good is extremely necessary. The demand curve is a relatively steep. Good is a necessity. Is a necessary for you, such as water, electricity, rice, gasoline. These are things are very necessary for you, but not extremely necessary for you. Without gasoline, you can still alive. You can run your bike, your electric bike or bicycle from your house to school. Without rice, you can use another food, such as a potato. Right? The demand curve is relatively flat. Good is not necessary. It's not necessary, such as luxuries. And finally, good is extremely unnecessary. And you get another one, middle between D2 and D3. You cannot determine what kind of this good. In this case, the demand has a unit elasticity. And there is a 45 degrees between the D curve and the horizontal axis. And in among 5 cases, please focus on this one and this one, because they are very popular in the real life. And D1, D5, and D4 is rarely happen. They rarely happen in the real life. But in the real life, in the daily life, D2 and D3 is much popular. This is a variety of demand curve. I take some minutes to finish the price elasticity of demand. You read at home determinants of price elasticity of demand. It's a very important. It's important. You read at home. And if you don't understand, you take note, right? Write down on the paper, take some notes, and please ask me in the break time in offline class. I'm ready to help you. I'm ready to answer individually for each student. Determinants of price elasticity of demand. It's very important. Price elasticity of demand and total revenue. What is a total revenue? The total revenue is amount paid by buyers and received by sellers of a good. And to calculate the total revenue, you take the product of P and Q. You take a product of P and Q. Cái này tôi không biết là đã nói với các em một lần nào chưa. Nếu nói rồi thì các em nghe lại. Tất nhiên nghe lại lần cuối cùng. Và nếu chưa nói lần nào thì lần này là lần đầu, cũng là lần cuối cùng. Không bao giờ tôi nhắc lần thứ hai. Trong số học đó, chúng ta có 4 phép toán. Nhắc lại, nếu bạn nghe rồi thì chịu khó nghe lại một lần nữa và là lần cuối cùng. Và chưa nghe, đây là lần đầu tiên, cũng là lần cuối cùng. 4 phép toán thì các bạn có cái addition. Addition thì bạn có cái tổng số là the sum. Addition là phép toán cộng thì tổng số là sum. Phép toán trừ bạn có subtraction. Subtraction thì bạn có cái difference là hiệu số. Bình thường chúng ta dịch difference là sự khác biệt, nhưng mà trong số học thì nó là được gọi là hiệu số. Bài toán nhân multiplication. Các em có cái từ là product. Nhiều sinh viên không biết thành ra cái dịch là sản phẩm hoài. Product là tích số. The product of P and Q, tức là tích số của P và Q. Là sản phẩm của P và Q. Nhiều bạn cứ nghĩ như vậy. Bởi vì bạn không nhớ đến cái từ này. Bạn ngay sau khi tôi nhắc cũng không nhớ. Nhưng mà đó là chuyện của mỗi cá nhân. Và cuối cùng là bạn có cái division. Phép toán chia. Thì bạn có cái quotient. Quotient là thương số. Như vậy đây là tổng số, hiệu số, tích số và thương số. Nó gắn liền với lại 4 phép toán cộng, trừ, nhân, chia. Và chúng ta có những động từ là to add, là tôi cộng thêm vào. To subtract, trừ bớt đi. Multiply là nhân với. Divide là chia cho. The price of to calculate the total revenue, you take the product of P and Q. You take price, then you time Q. You take the product of P and Q. The question is, to raise the total revenue, the seller should increase the price or decrease the price to increase the total revenue. And who can tell me, right? To raise the total revenue, to increase the total revenue, sellers should increase or decrease the price.
Seller should increase the price.
Should decrease the price. No meaning for me. No explanation, no meaning. And I don't care about your answer. Without explanation. Bạn học với tôi đến ngày hôm nay bạn không biết là cái tôi cần để giải thích. Bạn nói tăng hay giảm, bạn nói đại, xác suất trúng 50%. Đối với tôi vô nghĩa. Please don't raise your hand if you believe in yourself. Turn on your microphone and tell me directly.
I think the seller should increase the price because total revenue and the price move negatively. So if you want to increase the total revenue, you should decrease the price.
Should decrease the price. Thank you. The first one, if you choose the first case, right, the price increases, sellers increase the price, but based on the law of demand, price increases, the total revenue increases if the quantity sold unchanged. If the quantity sold unchanged. Unfortunately, based on the law of demand, price increases, the quantity demanded falls. That's why you cannot determine whether the total revenue increase or decrease. You cannot. And now you choose the second case. Sellers decrease the price. Price decreases. And if the quantity demanded unchanged, the total revenue decreases too. And the answer is far from the objective. It's far from objective, because the objective is to increase the total revenue. But based on the law of demand, the price increases, price decreases, price falls, the quantity demanded increases. Price falls, the quantity demanded goes up. And in this case, you cannot determine the total revenue or increase or decrease. It's ambiguous, unclear. That's why you cannot reply directly, or sellers should increase or decrease the price to increase the total revenue. You cannot tell me directly. That's why we divided these questions into two cases. Into two cases. The first one, if the good is necessary, the demand curve is relatively steep. You take 2 points, A and B. At the point A, you calculate the total revenue by taking the product of P and Q. Total revenue at A equals PA times QA. PA is this sign, right? QA is this sign. The product of P and Q give you the area of this rectangle. Similarly, at the point B, TRB equals PB times QB. Then you have another area of rectangle. And you notice that TRB is higher than TRA. It means that sellers prefer TRB. And now you can determine the direction. Until now, you can determine the direction from A to B. And your reply is to increase the total revenue. Sellers should increase the price. If they are selling necessities such as rice, water, electricity, gasoline, etc. These items, these goods are very necessary for you. Not extremely necessary, but they are very necessary for you. That's why sellers increase the price to achieve the objective to maximize the total revenue. If the demand is inelastic, price elasticity is smaller than 1. Price and total revenue has a positive relationship. If the demand curve is elastic, the correlation between price and total revenue is a positive. Price increases, total revenue increases too, and vice versa. Similarly, if sellers are selling luxuries, right, the demand curve is relatively flat, and they should decrease the price to increase the total revenue. To increase the total revenue, sellers should decrease the price. And that's why if the demand is elastic, the demand curve is relatively flat, price and total revenue has a negative correlation, negative relationship. Price decreases, total revenue increases, and vice versa. Yeah, this is the answer for the original question. Sellers should increase or decrease the price to raise the total revenue. The answer is it depends on the kind of good they are selling. Or they are selling necessities, or they are selling luxuries. And I would like to ask Yap Sung Nghi, you are
Yes,
still
sir.
there?
Yes.
Do you understand this question or not?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand about the correlation, the relationship between the price and total revenue?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear for you?
Yes, it's clear for me. When the price increase, the total revenue increase. If a good is necessary, and when the price decreases, the total revenue will increases if the good is unnecessary.
Suppose you were the seller, right, of clothes, and as a Tết approaches, right? As a Tết approaches, suppose you were the seller of clothes, and as Tết approaches, the question is, it's better for you to increase or decrease the price of clothes?
I think it is better for me to increase the price because clothes are necessary for people when that approaches.
They need new clothes, right, for Tết holidays, and
Yes.
according to them, right, based on their views, clothes is a necessary. Clothes is a necessities, right? That's why if you would like to has more total revenue, higher total revenue, you should increase the price of clothes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And take a look on this one. I take some more minutes to finish it, and then I finish the class today. In the monkey textbook, there is an option FYI, for your information. For your information, based on the survey in the US, the result is here are price elasticities of these items, such as eggs, healthcare, cigarettes, rice, etc. And I would like to ask you, according to you, X is a necessary for Americans or not, and why? Hồ Thị Trúc Mai.
Yes, sir. I'm not clear about the questions.
According to you,
Yes.
X is a necessary for Americans or not, and why? Do you understand my question or not?
Your question is
do you understand? Yes or no?
Yes, I understand.
And your reply, your answer is, your reply is
the
thank you, Trúc Mai. Hồ Thị Trúc Mai get the first negative mark for not understanding the content of the chapter. Another one. Nguyễn Trần Gia Linh.
Yes, teacher. I'm sorry, but I'm not clear about the questions.
Thank you. Nguyễn Trần Gia Linh. The first negative mark. Another one. Bùi Diệu Linh.
Yes, sir. I think that age is necessary for American because it's like a necessary food that provide protein for people.
Thank you. Bùi Diệu Linh get the first negative mark. Another one. Lâm Minh Khang.
Yes. Sorry, The audio glitch, so I cannot hear it clearly.
Thank you, Lâm Bình Khang. Negative mark. Lâm Bình Khang has 2 negative marks. Another one. Phạm Trình Xuân Kha. The second call for Phạm Trình Xuân Kha.
Hey, I'm here. You call about the price, right?
According to you, X is necessary for American people or not?
For me, I think X is really important for the American. Because they use it a lot in
Thank you.
most.
Thank you. Phạm Trình Xuân Kha. A second negative marks. Another one. Nguyễn Đỗ Quỳnh Hương. The second call for Nguyễn Đỗ Quỳnh Hương.
Sorry, teacher, I can't understand the question.
Thank you. Negative mark. Nguyễn Huy Hoàng. The price elasticity of demand. Not of the price elasticity of demand. Thank you. That's enough. It's very easy. It's very easy, not because I'm a teacher, but I have just presented to you everything about the price elasticity. I use the graph, I use the value, the formula. And finally, a lot of students get negative marks, and you deserve for these negative marks. The price elasticity of X equals 0.1 is nearly equal 0. And you know well, if the price elasticity of demand equals 0, we are talking about an extreme necessity. Good is considered as extremely necessary. This one nearly 0. And based on this value, right, this number, you can say that X are very important for American people. They use X every day. That's why the demand for X is inelastic. That's all. Similarly, healthcare, right? Healthcare. 0.2 important. 0.4 smaller than 1, smaller than 1, smaller than 1. And another question.
Sorry, excuse me. I have question that your slide is have already changed. I still see, the definition and the definition of total revenue.
Thank you for your feedback.
Yeah.
My question is related to this one. X healthcare sequence. Thật ra những sinh viên vừa rồi đó bị điểm trừ, tôi cho rằng là tôi vẫn giữ nguyên do họ quá thụ động. Thí dụ tôi hỏi X American people có cần hay không, thì họ nói được thưa thầy em không thấy có thông tin. Họ có trả lời vừa vả là cần hay không cần, cần không cần, cần không cần. Mà đúng rồi, họ nói là thưa thầy cung cấp thêm thông tin cho em mới nói được là cần hay không. Mà họ không, họ cứ em không hiểu, em không biết, em không có. Cho đến bạn vừa rồi feedback thì tôi mới thấy rằng là cái slide nó chỉ hiện lên. Bạn quá thụ động, và thụ động như vậy thì bạn có điểm trừ cũng hợp lý. Và bạn cố gắng xóa điểm trừ trong những buổi học còn lại. Rất nhiều cơ hội để bạn xóa điểm trừ. Vấn đề bạn có muốn xóa hay không là chuyện của bạn. And now take a look on beef. The price elasticity of beef based on the survey is 1.6. And according to you, the question is, do American people like beef or not? Tất cả những bạn có điểm trừ mà bây giờ tôi cập nhật ở trong cái bảng này. Yeah. Nên xung quanh trả lời. Do American like beef or not? They like it, they don't like it, and why? And if you keep silent, I call you randomly. Phạm Trình Xuân Kha.
Yes, sir. I think it is sorry, need to be. Can you move to the next person?
I call another one. Trần Lê Quỳnh Như.
Yes, sir. As I can see on the screen, beef is 1.6. It means it's
not beef is a 1.6. The elasticity, the price elasticity of demand of beef is 1.6. Not beef equals 1.6.
Yes, sir. The price elasticity of beef is 1.6, so it's at the average. So that the American, they don't show any references on beef or not.
Sorry, again.
So I mean, like at the point 1.6 is mean the average of the scale, so that they don't show their preference or
No.
not on beef.
It's incorrect. Never say it is a middle of the range. Never say it like that. The correct answer is because the elasticity is higher than 1. So beef is not a necessity. It's not a necessity for American people. It doesn't appear in every meal of these Americans. Why? Because it's very cheap, very expensive. Beef always more expensive than pork. A lot of people like beef, but they don't have enough money to have beef every day. That's why beef is considered as not necessary. They like it, but they don't have enough money to buy it every day. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And how about Mountain Dew? Hiền hậu.
Yes, sir. I think that American people like Mountain Dew, but
Hiền hậu for the second call.
sorry, can you hear me?
And the last call for Hiền hậu.
Sorry.
You didn't prepare well the microphone. So I remove you from the class. Đỗ Ngọc Thùy Dương.
Yes, teacher. The Mountain Dew, the American people don't is
Do
a
you know Mountain Dew? What is Mountain Dew?
it's a kind of like water, like
Kind of
to
beverage.
drink.
Kind of beverage, right? Beverage.
Yes, kind of beverage.
And how about Mountain Dew?
The Mountain Dew.
With the elasticity is 4.4.
The elasticity is 4.4. So the American, so it's a luxury thing. So the American people.
No, not a luxury. Mountain Dew is very cheap. It looks like Coca-Cola bottle. It's a cheap.
But it more than 1. So
It is higher than 1. Yes.
It's higher
but
than
it is not a luxury when the price elasticity is higher than 1. You can say the good is not necessary, such as for example luxury, but all of things with elasticity higher than 1 is not luxuries, but it's not necessary. Understand?
Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. It isn't a necessity. Mountain Dew isn't a necessity, so
it's not a necessity. is not a necessity.
Yes, it's not a necessity. So Mountain Dew, so American people don't need Mountain Dew.
They don't need it every day because Mountain Dew contains sugar, and if you use a lot of sugar, you maybe get diabetics. You may become diabetics.
Yes, sir.
That's why the price elasticity of Mountain Dew is much higher than one, much higher than one. But it is not a necessary, a luxury. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And the last one, before finishing the session today, elasticity of a linear demand curve. As you see, the demand curve here is a straight line. A straight line has only one slope. Has only one slope. The slope of a linear is always constant because there is one slope at every point on the demand curve. But the price elasticity is not. It's not. It means that elasticity is a different at every point on the same demand curve. At this point, the price equals zero. Right? The price equals zero. The price elasticity equals zero. This is the middle of this side. The middle of this side. The middle. At this middle, the price elasticity equals 1. And if the price is here, right? The price is here. The cross between the vertical axis and the demand curve, the price elasticity of demand equal infinity. From 0 to 1. From 0 to 1. The elasticity is smaller than 1. And from 1 to infinity, the elasticity is larger than 1. Elasticity equals 0, smaller than 1 from here to here, equals 1 right here, and from here to here, elasticity is higher than 1. And at this point, the price elasticity equals infinity. That's why you have the notation such as the slope of a linear demand curve is a constant, but its elasticity is not. For example, I give you the equation of the D curve, QD equals 100 minus 5p, right? And I ask you, I'm sorry, you reflect the middle here to the vertical axis, you have another middle. You had another middle. Các bạn học cấp 2 đó, các bạn nhớ lại bài học trong một cái tam giác, bạn lấy hai cái điểm trung bình, bạn lấy hai cái điểm giữa của hai cạnh nối lại với nhau, thì cái đường này được gọi là đường trung bình. Đây là đường trung bình. Đường trung bình là đường nối hai điểm giữa của hai cạnh. Hoặc là bạn nối cạnh này, bạn nối điểm trung bình này với điểm trung bình này, điểm giữa này chứ, điểm giữa này và điểm giữa này, bạn có đường trung bình thứ hai trong một tam giác. Cho nên khi bạn reflect cái midpoint này, cái điểm giữa này mà lên cái vertical axis, thì bạn có một cái một midpoint của cạnh kia. Yeah, come back to my example. The equation of the D curve as given, QD equals 100 minus 5p. And at the price of 2, the price elasticity of demand is A, elastic, B, inelastic, C, zero, D, infinity. The price elasticity is elastic, inelastic, equals 0, equals infinity. Infinity are perfectly inelastic, right? 0 perfectly inelastic, and perfectly elastic. At the beginning of the chapter, you base on the point elasticity. Remember the calculation of the point elasticity. You take the derivative of the QD respect to respect to P. The price elasticity of demand equals the slope of the demand curve by taking the derivative of QD respect to P. Then you time the price is a 2, the QD is a 90, and finally you have a 1/9 minus 1/9. You take the absolute value, and this one is smaller than 1, and you choose the answer is B. You take the absolute value, 1/9 smaller than 1, then the correct answer is B. But you have to remember the calculation. You have to take the derivative, etc. You have to choose. You have to determine the coordinate tọa độ of the point to 90. But another way to choose the correct answer is based on this equation, right? You let QD equal 0. You let QD equal 0. If QD equals 0, the price is a 20. This is the D curve, the price, right? QD equals 0, you determine easily the price is 20. If the price is a 20, the midpoint is 10. The mid value is a 10. And remember, right, at this point, the price elasticity equals 1. The elasticity equals 0 here, equals 1 here, equals infinity here. And the question is related to the price of 2. If the price is a 2 below 10, and from here to here, right, the price elasticity is smaller than 1. A, elastic, higher than 1. B, inelastic, smaller than 1. C equals 0. D, infinity. And you choose the question B. It's very easy. You don't need the calculation. But what you need is you have to determine the value of prices here when letting QD equals 0 to determine the price is 20. So you divide it into 2 from 0 to 20. The mid value is a 10. It's a very important. And now if I ask you to find out the price elasticity at the price of 11.98, if you use takes time because there is 2 decimal places số lẻ, but based on this graph it's very easy. 11.11 is higher than 10. 11.98, and from here to here you know well that the price elasticity is higher than 1. Then you choose the answer. You don't care about the calculation anymore. And here, that's all. Or another example, if I give you the value of price is 19.99, no problem. It's below 20, and it belongs to the range of price elasticity of demand higher than 1. You don't need to calculate the exact value of price elasticity. Yeah, this is the end of my explanation. And now you wait a minute, right? You mark and read it at home. The income elasticity of demand. The income elasticity of demand. I guide you to read at home. Remember that the price elasticity of demand of the good X equals percentage change in QD of the good X over percentage change in the price of X. And now you replace the price by the income. You examine another determinant of QD. Then you have the income elasticity of demand. The income elasticity of demand. Replace the price of the good X by the income. That's all. And what are normal goods? What are inferior goods, etc. Right. The next one, the cross price elasticity of demand. The price elasticity of demand of the good X equals a percentage change in QD, quantity demanded for of the good X, over percentage change in the price of X. And now you replace the price of X by the price of Y. That you have the cross price elasticity of demand. The cross price means you need 2 goods to compare, to analyze X and Y. If the price of the good Y increases by 1%, and how many percent, it leads to how many percent change in QD of the good X. The next one to read at home is the elasticity of supply. Elasticity of supply. The definition, the calculation, arc versus point. And variety of supply curves. You have 5 cases. The supply curve is a vertical, it's a relatively steep, has a unit elasticity, supply curve is relatively flat, and finally it's totally perfectly flat. And determinant of price elasticity of supply is important. Determinants of price elasticity of supply. And on the same supply curve, you'll notice again, right? I have just finished the demand curve, the straight line demand curve, and now we move to the supply curve on the same supply curve, but at every point on the supply curve, the price elasticity of supply are not the same. And finally, applications. We have you have 3 applications to read at home. Can good news for farming be bad news for farmers? Why did OPEC fail to keep the price of oil high? And finally, does a drug interdiction increase or decrease a drug-related crime? Drug interdiction increase or decrease? Normally, right? Normally, you choose decrease. But based on the price elasticity, you cannot say that because there are 2 cases, or increase or decrease, the drug-related crime. And please use your smartphone, right, to take some multiple choice questions to do at home. To check your knowledge related to this chapter, please take a picture. Please take pictures for these multiple choice questions. Question 1. Question 2. Three. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. Yeah, this is the last question. Yeah, because I don't have enough time to tell you all the things in the chapter, so I focus on the first part, and based on the first part related to the demand, price elasticity of demand, right? You read at home the remaining parts of the chapter, and again, take note if necessary, and don't hesitate to ask me everything you don't understand in the chapter. In the break time, every time I join you, I meet you, I see you on the campus B, right? And I'm ready to help you to reply the questions, all of your questions, but individually, not for the whole class. Thank you for your staying here with me until now, and see you next time. Yes. Yes. Em tên gì? Rồi. Nghĩa là em được tổng cộng là rồi, tôi cập nhật cho em rồi. Em thấy điểm mà tôi cập nhật chưa? Rồi. Rất mong các em về xem bài lại, đúng không? Và đọc lại và đánh dấu những điểm nào không hiểu và mạnh dạn hỏi tôi trong những buổi mà ở trên lớp, trong giờ giải lao hay cuối giờ.
Dạ thưa thầy, hồi nãy em có trả lời được 2 câu á thầy. Dạ.
Bạn tên gì?
Dạ em là Xuân Nghi, số 18.
Giáp Xuân Nghi.
Dạ.
Trả lời cô gì?
Dạ trả lời cái câu mà cái biểu đồ elasticity bằng 0 với lại cái câu mà price tăng rồi total revenue tăng khi mà Tết approach it đó thầy.
Được rồi. Được 4 điểm cộng.
Dạ cảm ơn thầy.
Và còn bạn nào có điểm cộng nữa? Nhắc lại những bạn có điểm trừ cố gắng xóa càng sớm càng tốt, và tôi tạo điều kiện cho bạn có nhiều cơ hội lắm, còn rất nhiều cơ hội. Tôi lấy ví dụ đầu buổi học sau thì tôi sẽ hỏi các bạn là các bạn đã làm bài tập trắc nghiệm ở nhà chưa, đúng không? Và tôi ưu tiên cho những bạn có điểm trừ để xóa điểm trừ trước. Ví dụ câu số 11, những bạn có điểm trừ được ưu tiên. Bạn nêu ra câu chọn, đáp án bạn chọn và giải thích thật ngắn gọn, không cần giải thích dài dòng. Bạn thấy chỉ cần giải thích một chút xíu tôi hiểu là xong, là tốt rồi, không cần mà nói dài. Nhưng mà khi dụ bạn không hiểu đó, bạn nói thường khi không hiểu bạn nói dài lắm, thường nói dài và nó loãng, nó xa cái chủ đề, càng dài càng loãng, bởi vì bạn không hiểu. Do đó những sinh viên hiểu bài thường họ nói rất ngắn gọn, và chỉ cần bạn nói một vài từ thôi mà nếu tôi thấy bạn hiểu bài được thì tôi sẽ tặng cho bạn điểm cộng. Như vậy tất cả những câu hỏi này buổi sau đầu giờ tôi sẽ ưu tiên cho những bạn có điểm cộng để xem những bạn làm như thế nào, bạn hiểu ra sao. Do đó bạn không ngại là hôm nay có một loạt điểm trừ, sao xóa được, có rất nhiều cơ hội để xóa, bạn tin như vậy. Rồi tôi chào cả lớp một lần nữa, gặp lại các bạn ở trên lớp offline tuần sau.
Chào thầy.
Chào em.
Em chào thầy.
Chào các em.